How's it going, everyone? Welcome to my Hell is Us review. So this game is a AA game. It is an indie game developed by a developing group in Montreal, Canada. And I just finished the game. I put about 26 hours into it. It is definitely one of my top games of 2025. I absolutely love this game. I know there are some complaints about the combat. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the location, the story, some of the mechanics, and we'll kill some enemies. So, Hell is Us is a story-based game. It's exploration. There are no maps. There are no guides that tell you where to go next. Essentially what you have is you have investigations. There are 6 main ones for the story. I finished all mine. This is after beating the game. When you beat the game, you can come back and keep playing, just to explore side quests. So you start off with family reunion. I'm not going to go too far into spoilers here, but you've got family reunion and you meet people, and as you talk to people, for instance, Ernest Cattle is one of the first people you meet in the first area. That's where we are right now. We're in Sanedra Forest. So when you meet him, he tells you about his 3 sons that died in a war, tells you about his missing son, and eventually you meet his son, and through helping him you complete what's called a good deed, and that good deed is almost like a side quest. So you meet these people as you're going through the main story. The main story essentially starts with you looking for your family. This is a war-torn fictional country, but it's very much a parallel to what goes on in the real world these days. If you think of Eastern Europe and the conflicts happening, there's definitely some parallels happening in this game. And one thing this game does not shy away from is the horrors of war. Some absolutely brutal aftermath that you find in some areas. So, that's the son. He came back. We have some other survivors. And as you talk to people, you'll be able to talk to them.
Mr. Atticus?
And you can also trade things. So you'll start to collect these items, and there is nothing that tells you where to go or who to give it to. There is no quest log. That may intimidate some people. I actually really like it because it actually forced me for the first time in a long time in a game just to explore. And I think that's where Hell is Us is really at its best. This game is not that hard for combat. I played it on normal difficulty. There's a ton of additional settings you can set to change your difficulty if you do find it a struggle. There's difficulty balanced. You have merciless, lean, changes health. You can actually go in individually and change stuff. I never did that. I kept that balanced the whole time. Had no problem. A couple group fights got a little frustrating here and there with the combat, but not too bad. So I'm just going to explore and walk as I talk here. So this first area, if you played the demo or saw the demo, you come through here. And a lot of the things in the game, you see these wind chimes. One of the first things the game teaches you is to just listen. Look for clues, listen to things, and it will kind of guide you where you want to go, right? So the concept of the game, as you're looking for your family, you're a child who was sent away from the war, and you're now back. You've snuck back into this war-torn area, and you're looking for your parents, primarily your mother. So that's the main, I'd say, start of the story, right? Oh, look at that. So after playing the game for 26 hours, just found something in the very first area that I never found. We're going to fast travel to our APC as opposed to get lost in this little forest here. As you're playing through, you eventually will unlock the APC at the end of the first chapter. That will take you to the second zone. Going through and exploring a little bit, I'm going to show you some of the enemies. So there are no leveling for this game. Instead of leveling, let's talk about combat. You have different weapon types. So a twin axe, you have a polearm, which is like your spear. You have a standard great sword, which is a slow swinging weapon, and then you have a sword. Each of them are upgradable to a grade 5 from unlocking a blacksmith. That's part of the main story. And then you can level up each weapon up to a maximum of level 20. And that's what gives you your strength in the game. That's where most of your hits come. There are only 3 tiers of enemies. You have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 3 is towards the end of the game. That's where I'd say the enemies get a little more challenging, but nothing you can't beat with 1 or 2 tries on some of the harder ones. And then on top of that, you have your gear. So you can upgrade your gear as well. And then you have a passive that you can wear. For example, this one gains me my limbic energy, which is your energy that you use special moves for. And then I have another one that it's an active one that I can actually turn on that gives me additional health. Right, so you have lots of these. You find them as you go. They have all sorts of different abilities. And then the weapons themselves and the enemies, they have these 4 different versions. And they're all based on emotion, part of the mystery of the game. So you have rage, ecstasy, grief, and terror. And then you also have weapons that do that. And each one of the weapons will have glyphs that you can put in them. You can match the color of your weapon type. So this twin axe is a rage twin axe. You turn it into that. Once you turn a weapon into that, you can't undo it. So you're locked in, but you have lots of versions you'll find along the way. Because there's only 4 weapon types and 4 of these categories, you'll see I've got quite a few, right? Like I've got quite a few of these twin blades. I've only upgraded the 2 that I use the most. I preferred the twin axe and the spear. And then you can put these into the slots and you can use them to do additional things. So as you're fighting, the main concept of the game is you're going to have these hollow enemies. They are going to release their emotion in a state, and then you'll use these additional tools. First I'm just going to actually show what happens. So they'll bring their haze out. You can block, you can parry as well. See if I can parry here. Okay. So there's parry, and then you can use these weapons. So if I change this one, we'll put that on, and then we'll maybe hit him, and then you do your special move. Now at the beginning of the game it's pretty challenging. You will not find it as easy as that. That's a tier 1 enemy. I'm at tier maximum pretty much, so I just shredded them. And then there's also, with those hollows, that's what the name of the enemies are, there are additional hollows that are called guardians, and they guard these. These are called time loops. So the time loops you'll be able to go into. There'll be a horror of war, some memory that's causing the emotion. Right. And then you'll have 3 different types, and you'll use these prisms that you find throughout the game to close the time loop. So once you close the time loop, it will dissipate. You'll get usually some collectibles, maybe you'll find some other things. And the main reason you do that is that's what stops basic enemies in the area from respawning. Right? So, the other thing you have is you have your drone. So you can see on the left side I've got my special moves that I can do. I'm going to add some healing. And then you have these drones. So you can put these on. This one helps me dodge. I've got ones that will pause the enemy. You've got spin the wind ones. There's different ones you can apply to your setup. And then of course you've got your special moves. So that's really combat in a whole. Not too complex. Starts off pretty challenging, gets pretty easy. There aren't real bosses, I'd say. There's a couple more dramatic fights that feel like boss fights. Less than half a dozen. Nothing too complicated. But, you know, it mixes up the fighting. Most of the game, though, is about this exploration. And that's, I think, where this game shines. It's got one of the best, I'd say, realized worlds in a game I've seen in a long time. every area is just packed with stuff. You have lots of story, lots of lore. As you find things with your assistant that you meet along the way, she's a reporter. She can look things up. That will help you unlock mystery doors called legendary doors that you can keep doing. And then let's just travel to another area. So we're going to stay in the early game. These are all areas you'll unlock as you play through the quests or the storyline. Marshes is the second zone. We'll take a look at that. Then we'll take a look at the hills, possibly, or the lake. And then we'll wrap it up. So all in all, that's really the game, right? But what's really cool about it is how much exploration and openness it gives you because there is no map. You really have to read through documents. You're constantly talking to people. They give you deeds. They tell you clues. And some of the clues and the puzzles that you'll need to do to unlock them take quite a bit of thinking. You know, there's all sorts of things you'll find if you watch my walkthrough series that I just finished. Lots of things you can do. Lots of puzzles. So there's a blacksmith. You can upgrade your weapons. So for example here, upgrade my sword. And then I'm going to upgrade one of these just to get a trophy actually. You can also upgrade your defensive gear. So I am wearing, I already have mine at max, but say you want to upgrade up to 4, you could. You can put in different shards you make, you know, and you get books along the way that help him do more. Now the horrors of war in this game are for real. There's some absolutely horrific stories as you talk to people. It does not shy away from the real world of war. There's lots of murder. There's children that have died. There's children without parents. There's a girl that's up in that house you meet. She's lost her parents, and you help her out. You have soldiers. And it's really interesting because the soldiers at the beginning seem really bad in some areas, and then you go to the other side of the war that's happening, and those soldiers have their own point of view, so you get two sides of that story. Very much tells you that there's kind of no good side to war, right? And some horrific scenes. Like you'll find people hanging where they were done, but then you also find details like this, right? Like graffiti from the people that lived here that have lost their home and it's been taken over. The zones themselves are, I'd say, semi-open world. So they're not fully open. You fast travel to each of them and find all sorts of mystery things. So by no means is the combat that hard. It's probably hardest, I'd say, in the first 5 hours. Now you see that little white circle that shows up? If you played Neo or something, it's very much like a blink. You press it at the right time and you'll heal yourself.
Out of Jova. Go back to the town.
Oh, we weren't aware.
Hang on.
So it is also, I'd say, not. These are just time loops that I didn't get around to closing during the main playthrough. It is not really a Souls-like. I'd say it's got Souls elements to it, definitely in the mood and kind of the mystery of it. You know, you do have your parry, you have dodges, you have a few different mechanics that have a Souls feel to them. But for the most part, it's more of an action game. And you can see here some horrors of war. So you have family and children hanging from that tree up there. There's a woman you meet that essentially was a school teacher that had been raped multiple times by soldiers, and just gruesome stuff. So if you are turned off by some of those real life scenarios, just, you know, be aware. This game does not shed away from the realities of a war. I really like that though. And just the amount of detail blows my mind. Like, I think because the world is so detailed, you really want to just keep going and exploring. Like, I beat the game What I have left now, if I go in here, is I've got a few items, right? So we have some of these items that I've got. For example, here, this dog collar. There was a dog in this town. He was held by one of the soldiers. I released him, got his dog collar, and he actually was owned by a family that lived up in the hills. They were hiding in a whole other zone, told us about their dog. I had to just randomly find the dog, and that's really how we kind of got there, right? And then you have a lot of these little areas when you first come to this first zone. This is the first real village you find at the beginning of the game. Oops, I messed up. So right there, there's a locked door. I still haven't found the key to that door. Someone I'm sure has it, or you'll do a good deed and someone will give you it. You do have a ton of things that you'll find along the inventory, right? There's clues. So this actually goes to a computer clue that I need to finish. It's a password to a computer. So like A, I believe, is the third number or something. I haven't really pieced it together. You'll get tapes. The tapes will tell you things. You'll also get these rods and different combinations of them, and these little chests throughout the game will help you open them, where you'll be able to get more of these prisms. Those prisms are what I use to close the loops. The drones, like I say, they are not upgradable, but you can swap out the abilities. And as you explore, you're going to get all these good deeds. So these are people that I've helped, things I haven't discovered, partial stories that I haven't finished yet. You got the same thing with mysteries throughout the areas, time loops. So you just saw me close 2 time loops. There's multiple time loops that you can close. And then the research, which you do with the woman that was in the APC travel vehicle, and she will give you passwords to these hidden vaults. So that's really the game. I don't want to give too much away from the story. The story is good. I'd say the environment and just helping people is definitely the power of this game. It's not a very long game. Like I say, I finished it in about 25 hours. I'm at 26 because I've been doing some exploring. So you're going to find it's a pretty good playthrough. I'm guessing there's probably another 5 hours of additional areas to go through to complete everything, just to finish it all. But the main story's done. The story does feel a bit like a setup for the next story, which I didn't mind. I feel like this is the beginning of a new IP, and I actually really hope that the developers make another one. And you do have areas that are just really nice looking. So I'm going to quickly just show some of these areas, and then we'll wrap this up. So again, this is Hell Is Us. It's a AA indie game. Very polished, really well done. Combat could be improved for the next game if they do one. But other than that, this is top tier. Like, this feels like it should be a AAA game almost, except for, I'd say, the combat. Definitely worth your money, worth your time. Support these AA games. I feel like we always support the big guys, and then we complain that their games aren't great. I've been playing a lot of indie games this year, and this is definitely my favorite. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps everyone who's wondering if they should play it. It's definitely on my must-play list for 2025. I don't think it needs New Game Plus because there is so much post-game exploration with the good deeds and closing time loops, unlocking things, solving puzzles. You could keep playing it for quite a bit, and I really hope we get a second one because I think the world building is really where this game stands out. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to see the actual full game in action and see the story, get a better feel for it, definitely check out my full playlist for Hell Is Us. It covers over, it's total, I think it's 39 episodes at this point, and it covers the entire game from start all the way to the final ending cutscene. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.